So the Mini JCW, what is it? Well, it is the first time that a proper full-fat John Cooper Works car has come to India. Now, I know you're probably scratching your head, haven't there been many John Cooper Works edition cars before? Well, they have, and they have essentially been built on a Cooper S with a lot of the styling elements of the JCW thrown in there with a little bit of extra tuning. This one, however, gets a host of mechanical upgrades to help it net that extra horsepower over the earlier JCW kits and the Cooper S. Setting the JCW apart from regular Minis is the John Cooper Works badging on the front grille, vents instead of fog lamps, and well, that's about it. 18-inch wheels are optional, though our test cars were the regular car's 17s. Still, the JCW with its slightly lowered stance has the delightfully squat and menacing look that shows that it means business. So now the reason why we've been brought to the Madras Motor Racetrack is because there's quite a bit of track car in the JCW. Historically, John Cooper Works cars have been used to race quite successfully at that too. And out here on the track, the JCW really shines. At the top of why that isn't the upgraded engine with new pistons, revised twin-scroll turbo and exhaust for a total of 231 PS and 320 Nm of torque. It's the lightened suspension componentry and optional dampers which really make all the difference. The adaptive suspension costs Rs 85,000 extra to spec, a small price to pay we think. Okay, so immediately the Mini JCW just feels more alive under my hands. So the steering just feels a little more direct. There just seems to be a little more front-end bite when you turn in, and there definitely seems to be just a little more power. Now, it is a modest power increase over the Cooper S. It's a modest power increase over the previous JCW tuning edition kits. But it all comes together to make a car that you just feel like pushing further, and it sounds so good. Thankfully, that fun exhaust note isn't an optional extra. Though, if I were in the market for a car with the handling prowess on the track that the JCW offers, I'd want it to sing louder. The JCW also gets the new sports Steptronic 8-speed transmission. That's a lot of BMW marketing talk for a ZF 8-speed torque converter. What that means is that it's a very smooth transmission, but in its sport Steptronic guise, it also gives you quicker shifts. So out here on the track especially, you're never really left wanting for a quicker downshift or a quicker upshift. The car just gives it to you as and when you ask of it via the paddle shifters. The real thing that matters when you're driving the Mini JCW is just how much more tight in it feels. So within the first couple of laps, in fact, you can just brake harder and deeper into a corner and the brakes don't fade. The stock brakes have also been switched out for 330 mm rotors clamped by 4 piston calipers from Brembo. And if you can't tell by how the brakes fill out the wheels, they're more than up to the task of hauling the Mini down from speed. Through the fast S's here at MMRT is where the stiffer suspension of the JCW really comes into its own, and you feel the car just be more tied down. And even under braking, you've got that extra braking power, you've got the stiffer suspension, so that means you can actually trail the brakes right up to the apex of the corner and you feel the car stick to its line. Now, the extra power of the JCW comes in when you nail the throttle mid-corner and you feel that surge. So you can pick it up from as low as 3000 RPM. I think peak torque actually comes in much lower than that, but out here on the track, when you nail it at about 3000 RPM, you can just rev all the way out. And The JCW does have the sports exhaust and it's much louder than the standard car. You'll notice us referring to the standard Cooper S because BMW were good enough to let us have a go in it as well. And while the Cooper S itself feels sporty and fun, driving the two back to back highlighted just how much tighter the John Cooper Works feels. It's almost like a mildly set up race car when you start pushing to the limit. As far as having a car that's a daily driver, as well as something that you could probably take to the track, I think this full-fat mini JCW fits the bill just right. We put in a bunch of laps in 43 degrees centigrade temperature here at Chennai, and the car's never hicked up once. Of course, all this means that the JCW is great on a track, but it remains to be seen how well it drives on the road. Living with one wouldn't be hard at all, though the rear seats are quite snug. The interiors are well built and stand out with the funky design, even if you expect softer surfaces in more places at this price. The 8.8-inch infotainment on our test cars is unfortunately an expensive optional extra and really should have been bundled into its sticker price of Rs 43.5 lakh ex-showroom. However, the CBU still gets the heads-up display, 12-speaker Harman Kardon audio and others to help make its case. For us, we'd get one just considering how brilliantly it drives and that there really isn't anything else this special for the money.